What is up, everybody? I want to go over the asset transfer with you guys here. I want to preface this by stating that not everybody's circumstances and situation will be exactly as mine is and or was. And I want to start off by showing you here the balance of $23,000 here. This is what I was able to move cleanly to the Mr. Man LLC, and I started that off as an individual. Okay, this is a portion of my balance. I didn't move everything over to the LLC. I don't want to move everything over to the LLC. So here are the assets that I moved. Okay, you can see when I click on XDC, you'll see it has the price of XDC now as we go down. Sorry, this is cointracker.io, and this here can get your taxes and prep and everything ready for you. So you can see here, where is it? Review actions. Clean, you'll see the test sample there of 1 XDC and then the large sum moved. So now, should I ever get audited, this is where it stops, at this test sample right here. There is no past history of 5 years of buying, selling, swapping, airdrops, DeFi, liquidity pools, staking, whatever that me as the individual was doing. It does not construe and amalgamate Mr. Man and the individual anymore just because I had rewritten the title. I completely got new wallets and moved everything. So let me show you how I did that, okay? And this is what I'm trying to stress here. And again, not everyone's circumstance is gonna be like mine. You will need to assess and come to the conclusion on what works for you. This is what I found to be the cleanest route to do it. The asset transfer protocol. And let me tell you that CoinTracker is relevant, very, very relevant to this strategy, whether it's the free version or the paid version. I went the paid route under my personal name to do it first, to showcase all my history, movement, and get my tax prep for myself. Show me at a $23,000 loss at that point there, which is fantastic. Then I canceled that membership. So essentially, the personal LLC, digital asset capital contribution protocol, this is moving the assets from my persons into the LLC as a capital contribution. And the purpose, the protocol establishes the procedure by which digital assets held personally are contributed in kind to whatever the LLC is at this point here as a capital contribution. So in its likeness, from there to here, from me to this, from this to this, okay? With ownership transfer evident by on-chain movement. And that's why I've shown you guys there in that first screen with cointracker.io. Clean movement, the one test, and then the one large sum amount, and that was it. And contemporaneous documentation. And the documentation would be under here. And if I go down to taxes, I don't pay for this one, so it might not show. But you see for 2026, I have no taxes here. If I was to change this under my own name and go back down to 2025, you would see the tax information there. But you can see here total proceeds, gains, and you can and as you go through it, well, let me go back. One of the things I had done as well under portfolio, I had printed this sheet out. I'd gone up here, clicked this here, clicked on the print, and I printed it out, and with my printer right there, and I had also saved to PDF. And the reason I saved to PDF is so I have digital copies of this stuff too, and you can see all the information right here, right on your screen, right there, as my persons. So my persons has my tax information now from this document here. I didn't just print that out, I also dropped down and I printed these out too. So if you go to click on review, you can see the movements here, and I printed those out too for my persons. So now I have the movements of my assets as well. Wallets, if you go to wallets, here's the different wallets. This is the Mr. Man LLC. I'm treating this right now for this view for you and I as the individual. So if I click on wallet, there you can see, if I click on it, there we go. Yeah, you can see the information about the wallet here and how much is in this particular wallet. Same thing for XLM, and you have the wallet address here. What you want to do is be able to, I printed all of these individuals out. So when I'm clicking on these now, I printed this out as well. So I click on Hedera, Go up to the 3 bars there, click print. I printed out physical copy and PDF copy as well. And PDF copy as well. So now I can send this to my accountant and they can get that done. When and if they ever ask for the wallet address, I have the wallet address as well, because I had copied all the wallet addresses and pasted onto a different sheet, Word document. So now I have all the addresses for my persons, and I have all the addresses for Mr. Man as well. So I can show when asset left this person here, me as a person, and moved over to Mr. Man, and now Mr. Man shows that it had received Stellar 1XLM as the opening balance on January 1st, and then 1XLM opening balance, and then a lump sum. That's it. That is it. Okay, there's no prior history of anything, not a thing at all. So let me go back. So governing principle. Ownership of self-custody digital assets is evidenced by control of private keys and on-chain transfer, not by off-chain retitling of wallet addresses. Because everything you had done in your past doesn't stop existing because you created a wrapper for all of... Hold on a second, let me show you. We'll go back to XRP, go to review. So you'll see here, all these movements here. This was my test XRP. Then another, there's the fee for it. Then another test XRP. There's the fee for it. Then a lump sum movement. And then I had to move some back because I sent too many. That's what this is here. I sent too many, so I sent this back to my personal. Then the fee. See all these movements here. In your personal wallet, you're going to have thousands of movements. Thousands. And because you have an LLC, it doesn't stop all of this from existing, because nowhere on here does it state that the LLC was created right here between this movement and that. Nowhere does it state that at all. Yeah, you have a legal wrapper in the form of an LLC to state on this date it was created, but you have 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, whatever of history under your personal self. So, where's my mouse? I have no idea where this thing is. There we go. Okay. So accordingly, new LLC owned wallets are created. Assets are transferred on chain. Documentation records records the transfer and valuation, which I'm walking you guys through right now, which is the coin tracker. And no retroactive ownership claims are made over historical wallets. No one can ever come back to Mr. Man and say, Mr. Man, you said your wallet was started on this date here. You retitled it of this date, as of this date. What are all these past transactions you had done here? My understanding and learning and education as an auditor. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a attorney by any means. I'm an auditor. I'm a maintenance auditor in a regulated industry for aviation. And many people don't understand what that means, but in a regulated industry, if something's not exactly as it's written down, scrutiny's opened up. If Transport Canada, the governing body for aviation, comes and says, Mr. Man, I see on this page here, you said that you used said tool and the torquing of this tool was recalibrated on said date. Can you get me that tool? Can you get me the recertification of this tool that you said was retorqued at this date to make sure you're in compliance? If that tool, if I'm not able to get the certificate that states that that tool was recalibrated, when it said it was recalibrated, more questions begin to open up. If that tool wasn't recalibrated on time and correctly as stated in your company manual, as stated in your document here that you said you had accomplished this, more questions begin to get asked. So, step 1, wallet segregation precondition before any transfers even begin. Personal wallets are designated as personal property. Okay, that's your wallet. New wallets are created and designated as LLC property. No wallet address is shared between personal and LLC holdings. A clean line. My individual wallet, my personal wallet, my LLC wallet. There is no commingling of things and trying to describe this later on. LLC wallets have no prior transaction histories. Just like this. There is no prior transaction history. It's the test amount and then the lump sum amount, the end. That's it. That's where all the questions end at that point there. This establishes a clean chain of title at that point there. And now you can physically see what I'm talking about. So asset selections. Only the following assets are approved for transfer under the protocol, and then you list your assets, whatever they are, under your protocol that you are transferring or that you can transfer as an LLC that you want to receive, and those are your assets that you're holding that you want to transfer. Everything has to be prescribed and in writing. That's how regulations work. These assets are already tracked for tax purposes and are suitable for entity ownership. Strategic reserve or long-term hold cold storage assets are excluded from this protocol unless separately approved. And the reason why I have this last here, the cold storage long-term bag holding are excluded, because I also have my offline big bags that I'm not transferring over to the LLC. This is just between me and myself and I, and that's it. All right. I want to keep a, do what I can to keep a. And this is going to sound, I guess, naive when I say this, but I want to do my best to keep a big bag offline. I understand it's not going to be whitelisted for specific use for whitelisted companies to use on-chain, off-chain, like exchanges to swap out and get into stable coins. That's fine, because I'm not sending funds from my big bag to exchanges. I'm sending funds from my big bag to my other wallets that can then move that to the exchange, which these wallets are the whitelisted ones. My big bag is not. Remember the wallet protocol. That's how that functions. So on-chain transfer and ownership events. Each approved asset is transferred from personal wallet or custodial account to an LLC-owned wallet via a standard on-chain transactions, just like I showed you. The transaction timestamp constitutes the ownership transfer date. There it is. This is January 1st, 2026 in UTC time. This was about 7 o'clock Central Standard Time for me. Okay. Each transaction ID hashtag, the transaction hash is recorded, and it is. The on-chain movement is the legal anchor of ownership change, because now there's verifiable evidence that these assets came from this personal wallet over to this LLC. Easy and done. That's it. The IRS can't say, okay, Mr. Man, this is when the wallet started. What happened prior to that? I'm sorry, that has nothing to do with Mr. Man. You need to go talk to that individual, but you can't talk to them because I have nothing to do with that individual at all. That's what that is. That's how you create that clean separation. And again, this is my strategy. A lot of people are going through the retitling, and I personally, I don't trust that route. In the old world, yes, it can simply work, but now with on-chain, immutable, non-deleting evidence, right? Before, you can just retitle something and no one would ever know other than the person who was retitling it with you. But now, it's not like that. The old world is not bleeding into the new world. The old concept still exists, but now with digital wrappers, it's a complete different world, and we have to treat it as such. So the fair market value is determined at the date and approximate time of transfer using a reputable exchange price. You can use any of these here. I used CoinTracker as mine because I had my personal account set up for CoinTracker to take a snapshot of all these things, print out all those documents and save them as PDFs, and then I moved them, and you saw the test amounts and then the big amounts, and then I did the exact same thing. I just took a screenshot of those, print those out too, PDF those, and put the printed out documents into my binder for Mr. Man. I have my personal binder and I have my Mr. Man binder. Done. Easy, easy peasy. It sounds difficult, but once you have it done, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe how easy that was. The reason it sounds difficult is because all of this is new. That's what it is. It's all just new to individuals who haven't operated an LLC before. Fair market value is used solely for capital accounting, crediting, basic tracking, and audit documentation. Step 5, capital contribution recording. The contributed assets are recorded as in-kind capital contribution to, for me, Mr. Man LLC. No cash changes hands. No sale to a third party occurs. Ownership continues uninterrupted, but under a new legal owner at this point here. Step 6, accounting and reporting boundary. Personal coin tracker remains historical only. That's what it is now. So if I go back into my coin tracker under my personal name, it'll show that my account holds 0 for the assets I had in a specific wallet, and this specific wallet was created so I could then move this to the LLC. So that specific wallet that was tracking had a value, and now it has no value because that value has been moved over to the LLC, and the LLC has a value. The end. It's that easy. No personal wallets are added to the LLC accounting system. Here it is here again. I'll go back to my portfolio. Mr. Man, this is it. Those are the 5 assets I had moved so far. That's it. There is no confusion here. Absolutely no confusing what is mine, Mr. Man, and the personal and the LLC's assets at this point here. There is no confusing that. There's absolutely no way to confuse that. Part 2. Did I do part 1 already? Yeah. Part 2. So form the template here. And this gives you the template at this point here, okay? And how it reads and how it breaks down. And then I want to go through the method of what actually, close this. Here. This is the route that I had taken. I had gone down the deferred in kind. And the reason I had gone down to the deferred in-kind capital contribution transfer agreement is because Mr. Man ordered his wallets late, right? Not me as the individual, but Mr. Man ordered his wallets too late. Okay, so Mr. Man LLC ordered wallets too late. So I had drafted the contract that these assets, while these assets were owned by me as an individual, will then be moved to Mr. Man LLC. That's why I had taken the screenshots. I had taken the screenshots of the individual pricing for everything. I had shown that me as an individual had suffered a loss during that tax season there. And during that loss, I had screenshotted everything. And then this here is my contract to state that I personally, the individual, will be holding these assets in escrow for Mr. Man until Mr. Man LLC gets their wallet, gets their shit together, okay? So when his wallet shows up, then I can do that transfer. But until then, I'm holding these assets in escrow for Mr. Man LLC, but these assets aren't mine anymore. And it says so in here, in this in-kind transfer. It says here, this deferred in-kind capital contribution is entered into as of, here it is here, December 18th. That's when the contribution happened. That's when it happened here. So all I gotta do now is insert my LLC here, because I moved them on this date, or created the contract with myself personally and Mr. Man LLC, that as of this date, you now own those assets. I personally own them no longer. I do not own them any longer. So here, you are the person, an individual contributor, and then the receiving entity is whatever the name LLC you have created. The purpose of this here, the contributor intends to contribute certain digital assets to the company as an in-kind capital contribution. Due to the pending delivery and activation of company-controlled digital asset wallets, the physical transfer of the assets will occur at a later date. So it spells everything out to you. Even though this says January 1st, this legal document now that I as an individual sign and Mr. Man LLC signs says that as of December 18th, these assets are no longer mine as an individual, they're Mr. Man's LLC's. Okay? I hope this makes sense. So this agreement documents the binding intent, obligation, and economic allocation of such contribution pending completion of this on-chain transfer, which was completed yesterday. Assets subject to contribution. The assets subject to this agreement are listed in Schedule A. Let me show you what Schedule A is, okay? What? This is Schedule A. And the way I made Schedule A, during the move, or before the move, before I moved all my personal assets, I screenshotted those assets. Okay, I'll show you what I mean. Let me pull this up on my phone here, so give me a second. Just so you get a better understanding. I want you guys to understand exactly what I had done. Here. So here. This is a screenshot of CoinTracker. Where is it? You can see the faded here, there's the number here of XRP, the value there, and you can see here's the address for it at this point here, the date and time is all there. So I screenshotted that just before I moved it, ran it through ChatGPT, and said all the assets, every single one that I was going to move, and I said create me Schedule A of assets that are going to be moved from me as the person to Mr. Man LLC. So now, here is the breakdown of that. December 31st, digital asset contribution, or contribute to the company. This Schedule A forms part of and is attached to the capital contribution and asset assignment agreement, the agreement between the undersigned individual contributor and Mr. Man LLC, which is the company. Capitalized terms not defined herein have meanings set forth in the agreement. The following digital assets are contributed in kind by the contributor of the company. So, and it goes down to say, now there it is, because it did it for me. XRP, the asset, the network, the amount, the dollar amount, and then the receiving address. That's the receiving address. Stellar, same thing. XDC, same thing. Hedera, Algorand, Polkadot. That's what you saw right here. That's what you saw right there. So then it goes on to say, the purpose. A contributor intends to contribute certain digital assets to the company as an in-kind capital contribution. Due to the pending delivery and activation, is this the one? No, that's a different one, sorry. There we go. So now that that's done, the contributor represents that the above assets were lawfully acquired, free and clear of liens, incumbents, or adverse claims, and were contributed as a capital contribution to the company in exchange for corresponding equity or capital account credit as reflected in the company's books. So I printed this out now, boom, and now I have the Schedule A, which goes with my deferred in-kind capital contribution, because this says here that I've received, Mr. Man received these assets as of December 18th. They belong to Mr. Man, but the individual held them, and then once they were received, here is the assets that were received and the total amount of assets received for Mr. Man LLC. Easy. And that's how that works. And then I created the protocol, the transfer protocol from individual to the wallet. Asset transfer to wallet protocol. All digital asset transfers involving the LLC, this is for my LLC, whether originating from a personal wallet, an exchange, or any other or another entity, shall follow a uniform custody verification and transfer protocol designed to establish clear intent, confirm operational control, and create an unambiguous on-chain record of ownership transition, which I had done right there. It's non-ambiguous. It takes away all the questions. It's easy. It's easy on the eyes to look at. There it is again, just to, overview. There it is. It's unambiguous. It eliminates all the questions, if anybody has any questions at that point there. Prior to any material transfer of digital assets, a nominal test transaction shall be executed from the source wallet to the destination wallet designed for LLC custody. The test transfer serves to verify address accuracy, confirm correct network selection, validate wallet accessibility, and establish functional control between the sending and receiving parties. The test amount is intentionally minimal and is not intended to represent a transfer of value, but rather a confirmation of operational integrity. Upon successful confirmation of the test transaction of the relevant blockchain, any and only after such confirmation is observed, the remaining balance intended for transfer shall be submitted in full from the source wallet to the destination wallet, and that's exactly what I have done. This sequencing demonstrates deliberate human action, intentional transfer, control transfer, and non-automated execution. The temporal separation between the test transaction and the full transfer is maintained to evidence conscious verification rather than bulk or blind execution. The full transfer constitutes the actual change in custody and control of the assets, at which point ownership responsibility is deemed to have transferred or transitioned to the receiving entity or wallet. From me personally to Mr. Man LLC, the test transfer happened, and then the big lump sum, the end. Immediately following the confirmation of the full transfer, a comprehensive documentation snapshot shall be created and retained. That's what I was showing you guys there on my phone here, and I printed those out, and that's just in my documentation now in my binder. This snapshot shall include the originating wallet address and receiving wallet address, the blockchain network used, the asset type, the quantity transferred, the transaction identifiers for both the test and full transfers, the timestamps of confirmation, and the fair market value of the assets at the time of the full transfer was completed. This record serves as a definitive operational and accounting reference for the transaction and is used to support capital contribution entries. And once you do it once, you'll see how easy it is, and every other one is done exactly the same way. The only thing I found difficult with it was, holding the two wallets simultaneously. Like, which wallet was it again? Was it this tangent or this? Other than that, it's simple. Oh no, the black tangent is the personal one. The orange tangent is the LLC. Easy. This protocol applies universally to all digital asset movements involving the LLC, regardless of whether this destination wallet is newly created or previously existing, and regardless of whether the assets being transferred are newly acquired or long held. The protocol is designed to prioritize control verification, error mitigation, and defensible audit posture rather than convenience or speed. Deviations from this process are not permitted absent documented necessity, as consistency of execution as a critical component of maintaining clear custody boundaries and preserving the integrity of the LLC's digital asset management practices. By adhering to this protocol, the LLC, my LLC, ensures that every material digital asset transfer is intentional, verifiable, operationally sound, and supported by a clean and bounded on-chain record that aligns custody, control, and documentation without reliance on retroactive interpretation or assumptions. No assumptions can be made at this point here. So this is the protocol now. I print this off, put it in my binder, that this is how Mr. Man LLC transfers assets, or receives, not transfers, receives assets. A test amount. Once the test amount shows up, the large amount shows up afterwards. The end. I hope you guys found this useful. This is how I had done mine. Sorry I waited so long to put this out. I had to confirm and know for myself first. I had to do it first. I had to be a living testament before I could provide any further evidence to anybody else. I had to go through it myself, and I have done that there, and I have the documentation for everything here. I have the evidence here on the cointracker.io. You see the amount that was moved. You see the chart, not that that matters, but you see the assets that have been moved at this point here. So I hope you guys found this useful. If you have any questions, by all means, drop it in the chat and we'll go over it.